Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to episode number 3 of the Prosper Performance Podcast. It's your boy Jave here with my man Gabe. About to chop it up with y'all a little bit, man. We got a special EP, of course. So if y'all been tuning in the last couple episodes, we've kind of been giving, just talking more about belief systems and you know uh, mindset and a lot of things like that. So in this episode, we want to give y'all a real practical. If you want to go towards the direction of becoming your best version and achieving your goals and things like that, what's some of the ways? This is just stuff that's worked for us in the past, so don't take it as whatever. Just try it, see if it works. But yeah, man, we can hop straight into it. Yeah,
You want to hear the routine, or
that's
what do you want to start with?
yeah. I think your routine is what I really want to hear. Just like I say the morning, because I would say like, or what do you feel like is like the most um thing that sticks out to you that's helped you the most um with just like your discipline and staying consistent and going towards your goals, like out of
Um,
everything.
I I think
Because
there's
you
a
make
lot that goes with it. I think the biggest thing and like the first step is like you got to get out of bed at whatever time that you plan on doing. And I say it like that, and I'm not like stressing a certain time because in the past, like I thought that there was like you had to get up at 5, you had to get up at 6 every day, or you have to do this. But the more I learned and the more I kind of paid attention to other certain professionals and certain entrepreneurs, like I learned the value in sleep and like getting the correct amount of sleep. And like, yeah, you can be waking up. You should be waking up at 5 and for 4:30 or 5 or 5:30, whatever. If you're going to bed at 10 or before 10, you know.
yeah,
But if you're going to bed past 10 and you're doing this consistently, like not only is your health deteriorating, but also like you're just beginning to put out shitty work because
yeah,
you're half asleep and you're
facts.
not rested. And like when you begin to go into that, then the brain becomes foggy. Like you stop working like as much as you could be with a normal set of sleep, normal set of hours of sleep. And
Yeah,
so
because what time you wake up in the morning?
it depends, honestly, really. Like it
Oh
depends
yeah,
on what
you
time
were
I go to
saying that.
bed. I really try and go to bed before 11 and really before 10:30 if I can.
Yeah,
And if I'm in bed and I'm asleep before 10:30, I'm trying to be up at least like by 6.
okay,
But if it's a little
yeah,
bit later, and sometimes it is like sometimes like either I can't fall asleep or sometimes like I don't know, just a few things happen. I might like wake up at 8 or at 7:30, but I'll
yeah,
never get it up like past 8 because I do think too also if you stay in bed for too long, then the day just becomes lazy and it kind of becomes wasted. So
facts.
I would say that's the first thing. And second thing I would say is when that alarm goes off, like you cannot be hitting snooze. Like once you hit snooze, the discipline aspect is already beginning to fade away, you know. And that like
So
that's not fun, but
hit snooze this morning.
that snooze
Confession.
button is yeah, it's a tease and it's really a torture. And so what I've learned to do is like I'll put my phone like I don't put my phone on my bed. I'll put it somewhere like I have to get up to turn it off. Like I'll have to
Yeah,
like actually somewhat get up to move it because when I
yeah,
that like forces me to get up because I'd rather get up than have to hear that noise the rest of
yeah.
the time, you know. So then
And
once
you
I'm up,
said
I'm good.
and you setting the discipline by doing that. You feel me? By not having your phone in your bed, because I be going to sleep with the phone in the bed sometimes. Putting on the snooze and all that is
Hmm.
just like everything compounds. I feel like, but no, I was asking what time you wake up because I do agree with what you say. Like the time you get of sleep is probably most important. Like
Hmm.
making sure you're getting adequate sleep, but when you actually wake up, it's them early mornings hit different. They do.
Yes,
They do. Like
yes,
I used to try to just like deny it, like I don't need to do that, I don't need to do that. But for me, I think like the earlier I wake up, that's just building the discipline. Even if I go to bed like early, because that's both discipline. Like if I just try to stick with my own schedule, what I do, and then just wake up whenever, that's like it definitely hurts the day. Like I don't know, just getting up before the sun, it's less distractions, all type of stuff.
So what time do you normally go to bed at, and what time do you would normally wake up at?
Go to bed at 12, wake up at 6. Try to do
Okay.
that. Um, yeah. So that's basically what we on. And
So
then
how do you feel on running on 6 hours of sleep a day? Like, do you feel a difference in it, or have you gotten used to it?
it's been straight with if I do 6 and then because I don't work on Sunday, so like Sunday rest, so like I sleep a lot. Like I'll
Yeah.
sleep in and then I'll probably end up taking a nap. Like it's just like a real chill day.
Mm-hmm.
I just try to cease everything. So I mean it'd be straight. Like I feel like if I get less than 6, I'm gonna be super tired. But if I get more than 8, then I'm gonna be
Yeah.
tired when I wake up. Like perfect world, try to get 7.
Yeah.
I would probably won't, but I think I can handle it right now. It's not really kicking me. I'm not consistent with it, so sometimes it messes up a little bit. So maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
not the best, Maybe I gotta switch it up. But really, my main thing is probably going to bed earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that like what you said with discipline, that does take discipline too, especially if like the people, like if you have a girlfriend or if you have someone, just like people you talk to all the time, if they're up late all the time, then they like that can kind of get to you, and so you have to hold like that strong discipline within yourself that you got to
Mm-hmm.
cut off at that earlier time, which is something I think I'm kind of working on. I'm trying to work on too right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, I do agree with you. I'm trying to go to bed a little earlier as well.
Yeah. Do you do the night routine too?
Like what do you
Because
mean?
I know you mess with the walking. Do you
Yeah.
like a night routine? Just like I don't know, because I hear watching videos and stuff like that. People, you know, uh, just make sure their clothes are already out. Like
Mm-hmm.
try to do different stuff like that to set up for the next day.
Yeah.
Plan whatever it may be.
My okay, yeah, so I guess I do have one. So normally like on the days that I'm not coaching at this gym, I'll be home, and so I'll normally go on like a walk when the sun's setting.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I do it like listening to music and listening to certain types of music that like it's kind of more motivational, more kind of like centered toward like what I'm trying to be on mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And if not that, then it's no music. It's just thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And I at least try and make the walk like 30 to 45 minutes at least. Um, and then I'll come home and I'll normally read for a bit. I'll go into the planner and I'll write my plan out for the next day, and I'll write my intentions for the next day. So like if I like say if I have a big like a day full of sessions, I'll kind of like just take notes down about how like what my purpose is, like how I need to impact these kids, how I need to bring energy, I need to bring positivity, like make sure I'm checking everyone and reading all the different types of people. And just kind of other small notes of like I want to check in with my athletes and like make sure that I'm talking to them more than just about the sport, like how's their lives going, how's school, how's the family, relationships, whatever. And then I'll normally throw my clothes out, like just of what I'm going to wear, because normally I work out in the morning, so I'll just lay that out. And yeah, I might read like a little bit before I go to bed, and then I'll watch probably like a video on an interview, or sometimes it's a video to take my mind off things before I go to bed.
Yeah, that's
But
fire. That's
what
fire.
about you?
That's fire. Nah, mine ain't that. We ain't on that level yet. We getting there, but dang, that's a good one. Like that's like because you winding yourself down, like you're preparing for sleep, so then that you're getting better sleep and you're doing stuff that's gonna move the needle forward, like writing
Mm-hmm.
the goals and saving the time in the morning. That's all. Like I'm just thinking, like in my head, like I gotta implement this stuff because it's like you really thinking about the ROI, return on investment of just having that. It's so many things. Like
Mm-hmm.
just the better sleep fact alone, that means you're gonna have more energy. That means you're gonna do better with what you're doing. It's just like
Better
all of
mood.
yeah. I see what's what because that's what when I first asked you, what do you think is most important? He's like sleep, right? Basically what you said.
Yeah.
Basically what it came down to. So it's like definitely got to take heed to just consistently doing that. But no, what I try to do is um hmm, if I'm doing something consistently, main thing, it'll just be journaling and reading and
Mm-hmm.
like just trying to put my screen away. So like
Right.
that's what happens on good days is like 30 minutes before bed or something like that. I'll just have it off in the corner and just like be done with screens. Like looking at screens all day. And then I'll just journal. Like I don't really do no to do or like purpose or nothing like that. I'll just journal thoughts, like how the day went, like kind of review type vibe.
Right.
Um and yeah, I would like set like just goals for the next day, what I'm doing. And then that would
Hmm.
be like typically it. But that's fire because I like the walks too. That's what I was gonna talk about was just like meditation and just solitude. I know we don't talked about in the last couple episodes. Like that's where a lot of the work has been done in our lives and
Hmm.
our journey and stuff like that. So, you know, I know you mess with the walks, the night walks. Is that your only time of silence throughout the day, or do you try to take other times of silence throughout the day? Are you quiet in the morning? Like when are those periods of solitude for you?
So this is gonna be kind of a funny answer, but I was big like with track and field. Like I loved um really just like working out on the track and doing workouts there. And so normally like that's another quiet space for me. Like I'll warm up with my headphones on and like kind of get my stuff ready. But then like once I actually get into my workout, like the
Mm-hmm.
headphones are normally off and like it's really just me thinking. Um it's a way kind of like if I ever feel a little anxious or I feel like I don't know. Sometimes I just need like a boost and like the workouts might suck in the moment, but what I fell in love with was like the feeling after, like the feeling at like you're on a natural high for like the rest of the day. And I noticed that when I do this consistently throughout the week, I'll probably go like 3 times a week. I just start to develop like a lot more peace and a lot more just clearness in my head, or clarity in my head. So yeah, that would really be my last thing. And one thing I wanted to say too that I forgot to do about my
Mm-hmm.
morning routine was, and I think this is important to do, is kind of with the journaling is I'll normally try and write 5 things down that I'm thankful for every single morning. And the reason I say this is because it kind of touches onto the point of sometimes people feel like they don't know how to become more positive, or like they don't feel like they don't know how to get a better look at their situation. And that's a great way to do it, especially
Yeah.
if you start to do it every single day,
Uh-huh.
because we take it for granted so many things, even from small things to big things, because we just naturally get used to things. And so I started to do that every morning, and so now like my mind has really switched from like I have to do this versus like I get to do this, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
bro. And
So
even like it was crazy because like when I say a mantra, it's basically like a prayer. I was like, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad. Like I try to say
mhm,
that as soon as I wake up before my feet touch the ground type stuff. And uh, that helps too. And like I was at yoga the other day. What was that yesterday? I was at yoga yesterday and this one lady that was there, she was like, yeah, try this for 30 days. Just as soon as you wake up, say thank you. Like just simply thank you. Just like as soon as you wake up, just say it out loud. Like before you say anything else, before you move, anything. And it's just like, yeah, like that's powerful. So, I challenge that to everybody listening, you know, say thank you as soon as you get up and then write it down and write the 3 things
mhm.
that you are thankful for. Um, yeah,
I like that.
just that gratitude, that positivity is just gonna radiate throughout the day and just, follow you. Like it really do
Right.
set the tone. And I think the reason why is just so like I'm a nerd, right? So like, you know, want to know about the brain or stuff like that. So but I think it's important, So in the morning time and at nighttime, that's when your subconscious is vibrating at the lowest frequency.
Mhm,
So like usually we walk around in beta state, which is like conscious, like survival mode. And then you can slip into theta state, which is like right above sleep, but it's that halfway awake uh, phase.
mhm,
And that's when your subconscious is most open to receiving information. And
mm,
it's 97% of our actions every day that we do is just subconscious, like habits and stuff like that. So the ability to like really reprogram that by just feeding ourselves positive things at those crucial periods throughout the day. Because naturally you slip into theta state before you go to sleep, and you're in theta state when you wake up. Sleep, you're in like delta state. So it's like a wavelength below, and that's when you're just like chilling. And then you can go even lower than that, and that's REM sleep. And that's when your body get the most rest. Um, but yeah, just the ability to slip in those positive things, like even before you go to sleep, they say it's powerful to like visualize and I visualize things, and I'm still visualizing things. We're waiting on it to manifest. It's on its way. But I like to think about what you are going for right before you go to sleep. Just plant those thoughts in your head. And then the morning time too, it's just like planting those seeds into that subconscious, because that's where they really sprout from. It's not your conscious, thinking mind. That's why they say meditate and get in silence so you can slip down into a lower vibration. So yeah, I mean, subconscious mind is powerful. So do you have, I know you say you like to watch the videos in the morning, the motivational. What else are you doing to feed your mind? I feel like we got a lot of stuff that's feeding our mind bad things all the time. So what are you feeding your mind positive?
Well, to ensure that, I had to go through a major social media cleanse, and cleanse as in just unfollow, like a massive unfollowing spree.
Yeah.
And it just because it's like, well, first of all, it's like we give the power of following way too much power in our society, and it has way too much of a meaning. Sometimes I unfollow people just because I don't want to see their stuff. It's not like I have a problem with them. I'm just nah, you're just not really relevant to my life anymore,
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Somebody
There's
will
no
feel
shade.
some type of way if you unfollow them. People be feeling some type of way. Oh, it's crazy.
Because they take it way too personally, but it's yo, it's just it's nothing against you. It's just our lives aren't the same anymore, and we're not, And so I think when that is done, it relieves pressure and stress off you a bit, because it's less people that get to share opinions about your stuff. That's just kind of how I thought about it. Or there's less people who matter, and so that was really
that's a bar. That's a bar.
Yeah.
Because that it does something. I swear it does something. Even if you keep the same followers yourself, even if they don't unfollow you, just the fact that you unfollowed them, it's it removed their power or something. I don't know, it does something though. For real. That's what you said. It's
so you were so you were asking me about what was it again?
Just what you feed in your mind, what positive stuff that you got.
Oh yeah. So
music, books, whatever.
So, and we had talked about this in private a little while ago too, but the power of music, music has always been very, very, very important to me and very special to me in certain ways. I think that, and the reason I say this is because the more people I've encountered, the more I've realized I have a different take and a different experience with it than a lot of other people do. Kind of some people I know just listen to it for background or whatever, but when I have the music on, it's the type where I don't want people to talk, so I want to listen to it, I don't like the background stuff, or I have a lot of respect for music and a lot of respect for the people who just put their time into the craft, because I have an understanding of specifically with hip hop, to foreign listeners of hip hop, they think it's all just kind of whatever, but I feel I have a certain understanding of it, of people who it's an art form for them for a lot of ways. And specifically the stuff that I like to listen to right now is I'm just learning the power of what you listen to and how it impacts you day to day. So specifically within hip hop, if you listen to a lot of depressed rappers or sad rappers or rappers who just who are just heavily self-medicating or things like that, no shit against them, but it just seems that stuff is a lot more down and depressing. And so it seemed to me during quarantine that when I listened to this more, I began to feel like that more. And feel more laid back and kind of low key. Whereas when I really made the switch to listening to a lot more entrepreneur rappers, the Roses, Jay-Z, Nipsey, all them, I started to see a huge change in my mental behavior, my physical behavior, the mental wavelength I was on, and I really started to show me the power. And it's just with the friends thing we were talking about, who you were around, that impacts you. It's the same thing with content and music. What you listen to and what you surround yourself with, that's gonna determine the way you think about things, the way you look at things, the way you know what I mean, you move with things. So music, literally one of the things I've started adding in my routine is when I wake up, before I'm even out of bed, I turn my speaker on, and I'm normally I'm playing something decently loud that's motivating, something that gets me up, because normally like I said, I'm going to the gym right after, so I need to get started like immediately. So I'm doing that and hitting the water like quick. So, and then also like there's the interview stuff, and we've kind of touched on this in the last few episodes, but just the content that a lot of entrepreneurs, hip hop artists, like all these different people, athletes, celebrities, like obviously a lot of them who go on there like to shoot the shit and have fun, but there's also a lot of them that really are given like precious gems in the game that they're providing for people. And so I have like a certain list of people where I make sure that when they have an interview posted up, like if I see a certain person that I know, like I know that they're kind of on the same wavelength as me, like I immediately tap in because I know that I'm going to be receiving some type of mental growth from that, you know?
Yeah, facts. Do you feel like, just the way it's perceived, do you feel like music is overrated or underrated? Just the way it's perceived.
Underrated.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. It's like,
I think by the majority it's underrated, but I think by the minority of people, like I think you were kind of the same way as me. I think Blair's the same. Like there's a smaller group of people who really understand music and have the respect for it that it should, you know?
Yeah. No, that's facts. Like, yeah. It's super. I mean, yeah, it's underrated. I mean, like even underrated as like an art form. Like people be, kind of trying to down talk music like it ain't really that. Like it's not hard.
Genius.
Like, yeah, like that's tough stuff they doing. And yeah, I feel like when you tap into that positive music, it's like you in a whole different like frequency. Like you just, you just moving on a different, like you can just tell it just does something to your spirit a little bit. Like you can like really feel it. Like when they really talking something that resonates with you, and resonates with where you're trying to go, and just, yeah, man. I love music. It's different.
Yeah,
Music
it
is
really
different.
is.
Yeah,
It
like
really is.
it could really shift. Just anything you see, hear, talk about it. Like really anything that is going into your environment. Like a lot of people like your environment is just your house or where you live or something like that. But like this is your main environment, like your senses, your five senses and stuff like that. So it's like we gotta be mindful of just the stuff we taking in. Like we just really don't know the impact sometimes, I think. I mean, I'm speaking from experience, like, you just don't really recognize the impact when you just living life on a day to day. But
Right.
Once you start to switch and you notice how much it contributed to that switch, it's just like, okay, I gotta do more of this. Like you get addicted to that feeling. Because do you feel like it's a lot of depressed people out here? I mean, how much time we got left? Gucci? Yeah. A lot of people is, depressed out here and stuff like that. Do you think people are finding pleasure in their depression? I think I used to find pleasure in my depression a little bit.
In what regard? Like, what do you mean by that?
Like, I think it just feeds your ego to be like sad. It's like, in a way. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad take, but
I think it's easy to feel like that because so many people do. So it kind of taps into like the average crowd or like the normal person. Like I would say now, like the normal person is probably depressed, and it might not be like diagnosed yet, but I think the average person like in our society now is probably depressed at some point. And it may not be like life-threatening depression, but like it's like there's phases. It comes in phases for some people. And I'm not trying to generalize that. Like it might be different, but from what I've seen so far, yeah, it seems like that. But I think that another thing too is like people have become more complacent with it and okay with it because it's so common right now, so people don't feel alone about it anymore. And
that's
I think that brings like some type of comfort because it's like, oh, I know this person's depressed, so I'm not the only one, so I'm good, I'm cool, that thing of like just kind of wanting to fit in with the crowd. And I'm not saying they're doing that on purpose, but it like they know that being depressed and like those feelings are very uncomfortable. And it just, I think it might ease them a lot to know that a lot of other people are in that same boat. You know what I mean? And that might not, that's just what it seems like to me. But I just really think that that's just all due to social media, and that's all due to just where we're at, like just with society and the way that we look at things and the way that like things are being consumed. I think that there's a big negativity in the air, like the way that things are presented, the way how like, I mean, if even if you just look at social media, bro, like everyone's trying to hate on something. Everyone's trying to hate on this. Everyone's like I was having a talk like last week, and I was saying to someone, I'm like look at the very, very like first people who were on this earth. Like their goal was literally just like to survive the day and do that the next day. And like look at how much we've overcomplicated this life. Like we've complicated like our job as humans here to survive. Like there's just so many things that we're doing wrong. We're killing other species, we're killing other people. Like we're doing so many things wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like look at how far away we've strayed away from like our original goal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Man, I mean, that's it right there. That's it. That's it, bro. Like, yeah. I mean, and it's like I try to, look at things optimistically. Like, we are doing some crazy stuff too. And it's a lot of us, so it's like hard to manage, but like, yeah, man, it's like it's much more. It seems like, at least, from
Yeah.
what's portrayed to us, that it's much more negativity and like quote unquote evils winning and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that reality? I don't know. It's a lot of good out there too, and like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like once you flip that switch to go into that mode of that mindset, you start seeing more of that in the world. Like it starts,
Mm-hmm.
showing itself more. Like you get more accustomed to it. When you got your mind switched on the negativity, it's just like then you start seeing it everywhere. You get mad at the
Right.
person that cut you off in traffic, and then you're just not attracting positive. Like you really do attract. I feel
Right.
like, it's crazy.
So I don't know. So where do you stand with all of that though? Like how do you see the society? How do you see like where do you see specifically? I'm talking more into like people our age. Like where do you think that we're at from at least from what you've seen? And I'm talking about either in public, I'm talking about like in the classroom, I'm talking about like just with conversations you've had, like what you see on social media, even on YouTube as well. Like what do you make of all that?
I think it's 51-49 good wins.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it's that. I mean, with us specifically, people are doing great things. Like I said, like, it's really it just I think it's just really who you tapping into. Like if I look at it
Mm-hmm.
as a whole, like if I zoom out, 51-49 good wins. But like when
Yeah.
you stuck in that 1% are just good and it's not 50-50, it's a whole different, you know, I feel
Yeah.
like it's a whole different view because like, it's people our age winning, making money
Right.
quick, fast, and living good lives. Are they happy? Now happiness, I guess that depends on where you look too. It
Yeah.
really
That's
just
up to
depends.
them.
Yeah, it depends on where you look. Because there's people in worse, financial conditions than us, different countries, and are happier.
Right.
Like they say, money ain't gonna buy happiness. So
Right.
like,
That's deep. That's
yeah,
deep. It's sad but true.
yeah.
So this is I don't know where this is gonna go, but like how much do you tie that to like our own society and like our own culture versus other cultures, and like why people who have less money in other cultures have a lot more happiness? Like what's your opinion of that?
I think it's less about the environment and culture and just more
Mm-hmm.
about the person. Like really, honestly, like you know, um, yeah, like over here, I feel like we are quote unquote first world. I feel like we're the best country in the world. I mean, really, when you look at it, like land of free, it's crazy over here. And on paper, it's worse in other places and stuff like that. But you
Mm-hmm.
know, it it just depends on your quality of life. I feel like if you're
Mm,
having a good quality of life, like doing the right things to hit the serotonins at the right time and limiting the bad, like, you know, figuring out this life thing and how to get more of that and not death in your life. Um, I think that's what really changes from place to place. Cause like you could take a person that's not happy over here and move them anywhere. That's why when people like move and think stuff's supposed to get better, I've been there. I'll be
mm,
like it's you. You have to change, or nothing else is gonna change.
right.
Right? Like, and that's I think what was the real big shift for me is just like realizing the personal development stuff is more important than any tactic. And I know this is
Mm,
supposed to be a tactic episode, but I've kind of wrapped it all back around. But like the stuff that like just fighting your own demons, recognizing them, what are
mm-hmm,
you struggling with? And like that you
mm-hmm,
really know you're struggling with, and that if you stop or start doing this thing, that it will improve your life. And it's like intuition. It's like the first thing that comes to mind when I speak about something like that.
mm-hmm,
That's what really matters. Just like attack those. Those are like character building stuff. Like, yes, they could be quote unquote financial goals or fitness goals or weight goal, all this type of stuff. But what's really building on that? What's this below the surface?
mm,
Consistency, discipline, work ethic. Like I look back, I started fitness for the aesthetic, but it
mm-hmm,
changed into a character thing.
mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know. It's just I don't know that I don't know where that came from, but yeah.
Yeah, no, and that shows a lot of self-awareness too, and then we preach big on that, like the self-awareness. Um, and I kind of wanted to lead that in what you were talking about in the point you made in this document about conquering your demons. And I wanted to know, like, I feel like we should list like things that we have done that we have helped to use conquer our demons, like within ourselves. So, like, what would you say are some things that you have used, or things that you still do to this day?
Yeah. Most time when I conquer my demons is when I'm doing hard stuff. Like I really mess with the whole David Goggins vibe. Like you gotta really like just seek pain. Like just do stuff that's uncomfortable and just
Mm-hmm,
like just lean into it. Stuff you don't want to do and just do it. Whatever you got to do it. Do it. Like
mm-hmm,
so. To make it practical, like waking up early, like when I just think about when I make the most progress is when I'm waking up early consistently. Like
mm-hmm,
alarm goes up and I'm straight to the gym usually. I've tried different routines, but I like the straight to the gym. It
mm-hmm,
sets the tone for the day. You get it out of you. You're not, I don't know, it just does something. But when I'm in that mode and just, coming back, just on it, um, that really helps. And just as far as other things, cold showers, um, semen retention. So withholding
mm-hmm,
from your lust, that's been huge, because that's
mm-hmm,
one of the biggest energies we got. Like that's if we think in energy terms, sexual energy is like super powerful. So like the ability to transmute that into different types of energy it gives you, that's a different vid. But that's have
100%,
worked.
though.
That has worked and helped. And yeah, just hard things like just going harder in the gym. Just like trying to hurt yourself. I mean, it sounds weird, but like
Yeah, yeah,
just seek that pain because that's just gonna make something new. You're never the same after you do something super painful. Like
right. You never regret it, like you said.
yeah, it
Yeah.
changes you. How about you?
I, when I when I answer this question, I'm looking at demons more like anxieties, maybe depressions, maybe things just like stuck in my head.
Yeah.
I would say the first thing is diet.
Okay.
I've been reading a lot about like, so I'm a big person, to be honest with you. Like I'm not big with like the medical system we have here. Like it's cool, but like and me and my family are more transitioning into like um doctors like Dr. Sebi, like herbalists, like
Yeah.
real doctors. That's a whole other kind of talk on itself as well. But it's taught me a lot about the importance of gut health and the importance about like just what you eat and what you consume. And like we have a lot of processed foods. and a lot of like fast foods, and you can tie that all down to like how it's like the country and how we're trying to force bad foods onto people who are poor, and like that's a whole other topic on itself as well. But the more I've looked into like organic stuff and like real foods, the more I've started to realize that it has a huge play on like how the mind works. And I don't even know what the terms are for it, but I know that diet and like taking care of your gut health is probably one of the most important things for anxiety and depression. So I would say that's one of the first things that like I had to address.
Okay.
And two, like we touched on this before, but like really sitting in silence and coming to terms with like the things you've done. And like the way I did it is I really wrote down all these things that like that my mind was stuck on, or like that I was having anxiety from, or that I was depressed from. Like I wrote them all down, and I had to talk through them and find like what was the win through each thing, like what did I learn from each thing, like where did I go wrong, what did I mess up, and really break down each thing, so that I could have more clarity and I could have more just like peace with it all,
Yeah.
and the demons will become worse when you try and run from them,
Yeah.
and when you try and cover them. And people might not realize that because they always want the quick fix, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like the longer you push that quick fix off, like years or months, like that shit, when it comes down, it is going to come down hard, a lot harder than if you were just going to address it like as soon as possible, like to when it happened, and that's something that I've learned like through therapy. That's something I've learned through my own self and through my own experiences. Because I've been like this year, and this year is really the year when I've like kind of cleaned up like all the demons I've dealt with since like 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So that like it's been a hard year for me. It's been a hard ass year. My sister's been doing the same. Yeah, like I'm talking like I like when I was in the thick of it with my therapist, like it was times where throughout the week, like I'm just flipping off on someone. Like I have like the tiniest little thread, and it's just getting cut at any minute, and anyone's gonna deal with it.
Yeah.
I was not good, like, and it was because like my mind wasn't pushing it off anymore, and like it was literally going through that process of trying to deal with and accept these things that I had been trying to cover and hide for so long. And I guess the reason why I'm saying this is because I know that there are so many people, bro, who are like that right now, who are literally still in that process of like trying to cover things, trying to hide things. They don't want to face it, and they don't, they're not okay with themselves deep down. And like that's the biggest thing I would suggest. And the hard part about it with our society is like everyone wants to find the solution without having to do any of the work. We literally were talking about this the last episode, dodging the work, and like you can't dodge the work. It's literally the same thing. I hope the people who are listening to this are starting to find the correlation. Like this applies to all aspects of life, like not just the work that you're trying to do to make money. Like this also like comes into play with taking care of yourself. Like you cannot dodge the work that you have to put into that, or else, like I said last time, I think like you're going to have a very harsh impact on your kids without even realizing if you decide to go that route. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think I'm just really big, bro, on self-awareness, self-reflection, and like looking at yourself from a third person perspective. And the more I've done that, the more I've realized that when you really look at yourself from a third person as many times as possible, you really start to act in a lot more pure of a way, because it's like there's an audience watching you, and that audience is just yourself. So you don't feel overwhelmed or anxious. You just have that understanding that there are eyes on you. It's just your own and God's. So
that's the heat. And yeah, y'all, I think that's where we're gonna end it. Hope y'all enjoyed the EP. If you did, stay tuned for the next one. Tap in with us on our social media. I'm at Javion Hodges everywhere. Tap in. Gabe, let me know where to get you at.
I'm at Gabe Cardenas, CARDENAS 6 on Instagram. I'm at GCard6 on Twitter, and at Glovework Training for my business page on Instagram.
Yes, sir. Y'all know what to do. Hope y'all stay tuned for the next EP. Catch y'all next one. Peace.
Appreciate it, guys.